What do you do when, amidst impenetrable night fog on a high-speed highway, the silhouette of a person suddenly appears in front of your vehicle, but disappears into thin air a second before the collision? Is it just a hallucination from exhaustion, or have you witnessed something that lies beyond the realm of understanding? Nighttime. The E40 Highway, on the section between the Polish border and the German city of Dresden. A thick, almost milky fog envelops the road, forcing even the most experienced drivers to strain their vision to the limit. Behind the wheel of a massive passenger bus sits Ostap, a driver with 15 years of experience. He knows every turn, every road marking, and every bridge along this route. But tonight was completely unlike any of the ones before. The speedometer needle barely hovers at the 80 kilometers per hour mark. Deep silence reigns in the cabin, broken only by the monotonous, rhythmic rumble of the wheels. The passengers are asleep, wrapped in blankets, completely unaware of what is happening behind the tinted glass. And suddenly, a hard slam on the brakes. The bus swerves for a moment and the headlights catch the silhouette of a person standing right in the middle of the fast lane, ignoring the approaching vehicle. Ostap's heart skips a beat. He manages to react in time, bringing the machine to a halt just inches away from the strange figure. But when he steps out of the bus to check if everything is all right, there is no one there. Only the empty highway and a cold, piercing wind. This is not just a hallucination or fatigue. It is the beginning of the strangest and most mystical journey that would forever alter the lives of the crew and the passengers on the Przemysl-Paris route. After Ostap returned to his seat, inhaling the ozone and anxiety-scented air, his co-driver Petro, who was supposed to be resting at that moment, jumped up from his seat. "What was that, Ostap?" "Did you hit someone?" His voice trembled, revealing panic. "I don't know, Petro. There was no one there. But I clearly saw a man, in an old coat, holding a strange suitcase," Ostap replied, trying to steady his trembling hands. They decided to move forward, as stopping in the middle of a deserted highway in such thick fog was dangerous. The bus smoothly gained speed, and the cabin plunged back into semi-darkness. But the sensation that someone had appeared in the vehicle did not leave Ostap. He kept checking the rearview mirror. Around 3 in the morning, while passing through a deserted stretch, the air in the cabin grew sharply colder. The mist from the air conditioning turned into a light frost on the windows. Ostap turned on the heating, but it did not help. From the back of the cabin, from the last 12th row, footsteps could be heard. Ostap turned around and saw the man. He looked exactly like the figure in the fog. Wet, wearing an old classic coat and holding a metal suitcase in his hand, he walked slowly down the aisle toward the driver. The passengers around him were fast asleep, as if oblivious to the cold or the stranger's presence. The man stopped near the driver's cabin. His face was pale, and his eyes were deep and empty. "You forgot your ticket," the man whispered, in a voice that sounded like rustling autumn leaves. Ostap felt terror freeze every cell in his body. He could not move. The stranger placed an old, yellowed ticket dated 1984 on the control panel and added, "I need to go to Paris. Otherwise, we will never make it." After these words, the man dissolved into the air, leaving behind only the scent of a damp forest and the metal ticket on the dashboard. Ostap realized that something supernatural was happening. But the worst part was yet to come. When the bus drove onto the next section of the highway, the navigator showed that they were moving in circles. The city lights disappeared, and instead of modern highways, old, abandoned scenery reminiscent of Europe in the last century began to appear outside the window. Petro woke up and, seeing his partner's condition, asked what was happening. Ostap showed him the ticket. Written on it were the words, "Route, Berlin to Paris. Flight 404. Date, November 12th, 1984. At that moment, the bus began to lose control. The speed did not increase, but the instruments showed 140 kilometers per hour. The lights in the cabin began to flicker. The passengers started waking up because it became very cold in the cabin, and items began to fall from the luggage racks. Panic erupted in the cabin. "Ostap, what do we do? We're going to crash!" Petro shouted. Ostap remembered the words of the night passenger. He realized that they had become part of a forgotten flight that failed to reach its destination 40 years ago. The man in the coat was not just a fellow traveler. He was a soul unable to find peace until it reached its destination. Ostap pulled himself together. He understood that his experience and a cool head were the only things that could save the people. He addressed the passengers through the microphone, trying to calm them down. "Dear passengers, please remain in your seats and stay calm. We have a difficult path ahead of us, but we will make it. The main thing is not to panic." He pressed the brake pedal, but the bus did not respond. Then Ostap made a bold, intuitive decision. He turned off the engine and shifted the transmission to neutral, trusting the road itself. The bus began to slow down, but a wall of fog emerged in front of them, out of which silhouettes of 1980s cars appeared. It seemed as though they had fallen into a time loop where time had stopped. Ostap kept a firm grip on the steering wheel, trying to avoid these phantom obstacles. Prayers were echoing through the cabin. Some people were crying, but most of the passengers banded together, supporting one another. The atmosphere was incredibly tense. Suddenly, at the most critical moment, when it seemed a collision was unavoidable, the man with the suitcase reappeared. He stood in front of the bus, raising his hand, and the headlights reflected off his silhouette. The vehicle passed right through him as if he were smoke. A loud pop, similar to thunder, echoed through the cabin, and everything suddenly returned to normal. The fog cleared, modern road signs reappeared, and the navigator showed the right path again. The temperature in the cabin normalized, and the frost vanished. The passengers let out a sigh of relief. Ostap stopped at the nearest rest stop to inspect the bus and make sure everyone was safe. The tires were intact, the engine was running smoothly, and the ticket from 1984 remained lying on the dashboard. Ostap stepped outside to get some air and process what had happened. He walked over to the coffee vending machine, where just a few hours earlier he had felt such terror. Now it was quiet and peaceful. Petro, who followed him outside, said, "Ostap, we did it. We saved them." "But what was that?" Ostap looked at the ticket he was holding in his hand and replied, "We helped a soul finish its journey. We became a bridge between the past and the future." After this event, the atmosphere in the cabin became entirely different. The passengers, having just experienced terror, now felt an unusual sense of unity and warmth. All the problems that seemed important to them the night before had faded into the background. People began talking, sharing their thoughts, and supporting one another. As the bus approached France, the sky outside began to brighten. The first rays of the sun appeared, dispersing the night darkness. Paris greeted them with peace and grandeur. The passengers disembarked at the final stop, slightly tired but full of emotion. Many of them approached Ostap to shake his hand and thank him for his professionalism and courage. The driver realized that this journey had changed his life forever. It showed him that on the road, we are never truly alone, and that every path holds a hidden meaning. After arriving, Ostap checked his wallet, but the ticket was no longer there. It had disappeared without a trace, just like the night passenger. Only the memories and the feeling that miracles happen when we least expect them remained. This story serves as a reminder to each of us. No technology or modern devices can replace humanity and faith. When we face the unknown, the most important thing is to remain ourselves and not lose control.